The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
Family Fun Night. Hurry to the kitchen table to participate in the cutthroat world of competitive board games. Hide your intentions, sneak a peek, rob the bank, and do whatever you have to do to be the first one across the finish line and earn your place as
the alpha of these pathetic mortals you call kin.
Throughout our life, these seemingly meaningless beguiling hours taught us how to strategize, how hard luck can be, and if we were really attentive, the importance of good sportsmanship. So tonight, come tell the panel how the attributes of board games helped you to formulate plans and maybe even creative endeavors. And if you're like many, what makes you a board game lifer? And how you'll board till death. Right now on Dispatches from Outside the Box.
In the spaces, things exist. In the lines that form the network of your mind. Behind the retinas of imagination are the particles and chemicals that made you who you are. Turn off, shut your eyes, and listen. Dispatches from outside the box.
All right, and welcome to the show that scours the corners of geekdom to inspire you to create outside the box. And that's create anything, but specifically what we're talking about is what inspires you to create great comics. Before we get started and join our panel, I'd like you to like, subscribe, share, and hit that bell icon for alerts on all the great shows that we have right here on the Indie Comics Network. And of course, I see in the chat we've got Carl, so I want to hit this up real quick. Carl, this is for you.
Happy birthday, whoop-dee-doo, whoop-dee-doo.
All right. So I had to get that out there to let Carl know it's a happy birthday from us as Dispatches. He's always in the comments, so it's really good to acknowledge him. Mitch!
Yes.
Introduce yourself, sir, since I haven't put names up.
Oh, I am Mitch Rogers. I'm a comic book creator from South Carolina. I'm the creator, writer, and artist and publisher of The Boger, Southern Gothic, which is out for sale on my website, which you can find at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios.
Awesome. Look, Carl. So are you a board game man?
Not currently, but when I was a kid, I loved them.
What was your favorite?
Probably Mousetrap, because I've always had a thing for Rube Goldberg machines.
Oh yeah, okay. I can see that.
So that really piqued my interest. Sorry was another one.
Yeah.
Operation I sucked at because
I would suck at that too.
Yeah, because I have very large hands and they twitch occasionally. They're not really that steady, so I would always hit the buzzer.
I was a nervous child too.
I never got one that we never owned, but I loved playing it whenever I had the chance.
What was that?
Clue.
Oh yeah. That's my favorite one actually. But Mousetrap. I never got a chance to play Mousetrap. I wanted to, but I never had anybody that owned it. Jarrett, you never owned Mousetrap, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
You remember Mousetrap though, right?
I do. I forgot about it until Mitch brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's another one I didn't play.
So you're not a board game person?
I'm not actually.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. We'll.
Well, I mean, like Mitch, as a child, it was a thing, but I didn't have too many growing up. As a matter of fact, I got one for I can't even remember the name of it, but it was one of those strategic life type board games where you do like war and stuff. But
Risk.
Like Risk?
it was like Risk, but I don't remember it. But remember the name. But it could have been Risk for all I know. But it sat in my closet for years until I finally got rid of it.
that happens. I can't tell you how many times I've bought a board game, never played it, and got to the point where it's like, is this really moving with me? Forget it.
Well, I mean,
It's
see,
not coming with me.
I was an only child, so I didn't really have anybody to really play games with. I mean, me and my grandmother, we would play Yahtzee, so I guess technically Yahtzee is my favorite.
Yeah.
No, it's not a board game per se, but
You'd be surprised what they consider to be board games. Like,
yeah.
If we asked Chad, what's this weird game he was telling us about last week with the drinking thing?
Oh, Red Dragon Inn.
Yes.
As long as there's alcohol, it's fun, right?
Right, exactly. You're not really drinking for real, but it
Right.
makes it more fun if you are.
Oh, Chad, introduce yourself before we get into it with you.
Hello, my name is Chad Perkins. I'm the writer of Blue Lullaby from Marcosia Enterprises, and also the upcoming series, The Legend of Sparkle Dog. And I'm also the host of Shots with Comics right here on the Indie Comics Network at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we get drunk, we talk about comic books, we're mean, we're cruel, and we make the cameras crash.
Yes, pretty much. So you say now this game is basically it's a drinking game without the drink.
Correct.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh, what's fun? What is fun about that?
You get to screw a lot of people over throughout it.
Well,
But-
that is fun.
Yeah, you can also
It's
drink
not called
with
life?
it too. So it is. I'm actually
No, life screws you over. There.
Okay.
I'm also a 4-time winner of the game Sorry. Actually,
sorry
it's
to
more
hear
like
that.
a million times because I'm married.
Sorry to hear that.
Wow. I didn't get it. And of course, we do have a special guest tonight to come and talk about board games, coming all the way out of the Furthermore. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, folks. I'm Nick Tucker, artist, author, game designer. That's probably what's relevant. And independent, retired paranormal consultant. I created the Big Stompy Robots line of games and novels, which I'm totally not shamelessly using this to promote. Anyway, and actually, there's another game you can find that I did many, many, many moons ago called Melee, where I made a game out of essentially SCA heavy combat so that people could practice tactics. Yeah,
Cool.
I'm excited about this because I love board games. Basically, I love all games, and there's a fine line between RPG and board game, and that's one of those things that you see a lot because if you start getting into the miniatures and stuff, it gets
That's a whole new level.
Oh yeah, literally, and you can go completely bat poop insane with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I've tried to get
And-
into the miniatures, and
Or you can be like, I'm playing this game with just theater of the mind stuff, and no matter how you play it, it isn't wrong, unless you're playing 4th edition D&D. Then you're wrong.
Whoa!
Ow.
Oh man, I didn't realize it was going to come from you tonight, Nick. But okay.
Well, see, the trick is I only
Starts
do
early.
1 or 2 of those unless provoked because they still have impact.
Sure.
Now, see, it took me a second because you reintroduced me to Chad, and I didn't recognize him without his pickle suit. I'm
He gets
sorry.
that
It just
everywhere.
took me a second till he said the show. I'm like, that's where I know him from. The pickle suit commercials. But
Yes.
yes,
He gets that everywhere, even out at Walmart.
Yeah, it's
Well,
very strange.
Yeah.
Before I ask you a question, Nick, let me look at the chat real quick. Of course, we've got Carl. Happy birthday
Carl,
again,
happy
Carl.
birthday.
Good evening. Carl
Whoop-dee-doo,
says,
whoop-dee-doo.
Risk was a game that I liked, or Stratego. And Battleship, of course.
Battleship was a good one. I actually
And
did
Doc-
own Mousetrap, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I love Battleship because I'd always lie.
that was another one I didn't get to play until my adult years. Donna says, hey.
It's very
Hi,
easy to
Donna.
win.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're telling the truth, it's still easy to
Scrabble
win.
does count, Carl. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's on the board.
Scrab's great.
hate
I'm-
Scrabble.
Well, it's
I'm
literally
terrible
a
at
bunch
Scrabble.
of little tiny boards. I mean, look at the definition. How could it be- It's a bunch of little boards that you lay on a bigger board. It counts.
It's a board.
Yeah,
And
technically,
those-
Scrabble and Trivial Pursuit. You know, I always like those.
Those are
Oh,
good.
Oh,
Trivial
yeah. I
Pursuit,
love how
yeah.
no one is saying anything positive about Monopoly. So I'm
I can't
absolutely
play
here for
Monopoly.
this. Because, you know,
It's overrated.
I have never finished a game of Monopoly.
Who
That's
has?
because it's too damn long.
Who has? After 3.5 days, no one gives a crap anymore.
it was literally designed to be like a bash on capitalism
You
and
don't
how
say.
you can't win it. And yet we merchandised it and sell it everywhere and rebrand it everywhere. And families come together all over our great nation to be miserable.
I
You
mean,
have the
Right.
Dispatch Monopoly set coming out soon.
Yeah, where do you go?
I have.
You have the right to be wrong, Donna. You know I
Uh-oh.
love you. And
I used to
No,
play. I have a Star Wars Monopoly, and my wife and I
Okay.
That's how they
played,
get you.
and I made her cry, so we had to stop playing.
But when you say Star Wars Monopoly, which Star Wars Monopoly do you have?
The new one.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Where you
That
can play
doesn't
as John
count.
Boyega.
Well,
and all
is
this.
it the
Aw,
best
that-
one? Like
So is that the one that basically it's not go to jail but spend time with Jar Jar instead? Is that the one?
Yes,
That-
that's the
what
one.
it
Yeah,
is?
but it's him like rubbing his nipples on the board. Like, that's what. Yeah, it's a very weird one now that I think about it.
Misa Jaja.
Ooh,
well, the
Misa
free
make you feel
parking
good.
is listen to Kylo whine, so it's okay.
Yeah, right.
You know,
No.
Set the clean-
Wow. honestly, I admire the dedication. Now,
I mean, I
That
get
is
it.
dedication.
I'm a board
I
game
used
collector,
to
so-
actually help run the Catan tourneys.
Only.
Mm,
Oh, okay.
So
Now, I don't know. Okay, I
I've
have
played
seen
that
that's
Catan.
great.
I have seen Catan. I have seen the box for Catan. It has caught my attention, but not enough to me to know what is Catan.
Okay.
Never played Catan.
Apparently not. If I
Oh,
have,
neither
I
have
might
I.
have been stoned, but I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Catan is one of the games that single-handedly re-resurrected
The board game market.
board gaming in the common vernacular. It's
Really?
part of kind of a big trio of modern board games that brought board games not just forward, but more adult included, not by language or whatever. But
Right.
you have Catan, which is a wonderful mix of strategy and negotiation.
Mhm.
So it can be played very, very friendly. You know, my wife and son and I all play Catan. It's a very, very civil game when we play it. When you play it with a dear friend, it becomes the most cutthroat, backstabbing,
Yeah.
you know,
Sounds like Rook.
yes. Wow, yes. But you have that. You have something called Ticket to Ride, which I've
I have-
only
yep.
played once,
I have played Ticket to
and
Ride.
that's a neat railroad building kind of game. And again, when you have that strategy and negotiation, is what gets a game to work for adults. And then you have Betrayal at House on the Hill.
And I played that
or
one
the
too.
Betrayal
I
at
played
Hill
that one a
House.
lot.
I'm sorry, I am very dyslexic. That is a blast if you have the right people, because you're essentially trying to solve.
I'm
a horror
obviously
movie.
a novice. I haven't heard of any of these. except
I haven't.
Catan.
Don't
It's
feel bad.
awesome.
I've played Catan before.
No. This is a good thing. We are
Okay.
in an era where, see, I have this thing. I'm hung up on independent things. I like independent comics, hence how I
Yeah.
know you guys. I like independent games, hence why I'm making Hybrids the Sons of God, the role-playing game for Luke Stone Studios at lukestonestudios.com. Pardon the shameless promotion. But I learned from Brian
Look
K.
at us,
Morris,
we all-
and he will rise from his semi-retirement and take my Fez rights away if I don't, shamelessly promote once in a while.
Ah,
But,
yes.
And I've been involved in gaming conventions, oh god. It was 10, 12 years. And then COVID, I think it was 10 years, then COVID hit, and I ran a couple other conventions. So this has been my bread and butter for a long, long time. And it's great because they're such an opposite to the digital. Everybody sits in our living room, and come on, this happens to everybody, even me and my wife. The TV is on, no one is watching it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
checking something on my phone. She's checking something on her phone. and Xander's playing Farmville or Angry Birds. And I'll look up and go, wait, now it's time to reset because we've all been trapped by the devices, and we'll do something. But I think board games are the last best hope, and this is an old Babylon 5 guy leaking out of it, but last best hope for family discussion. And of course, when I grew up, we had a pool table. My dad had a pool table because that was one of his great loves. And I count I count parlor games as a very similar kind of thing. I think that's what you call pool table. You know?
Parlor game. Yeah.
And it's just so important because that's where you're doing something real with something tangible. And you're talking to people. Not that I don't love videos like this, but I think there was we were feeling the disconnect before the pandemic. And I think after the pandemic, people just can I just be in the room with someone for a little while and converse without it being you, me, Indiegogo, and the NSA watching. You know what I mean? Let Indiegogo take the night off. I understand that Picket Alphabet Soup is watching, but again, humor. It's humor, guys. I love you. Thank you for protecting our country. But
well, the thing is, what's interesting about board games, especially in this digital era, is that it is still thriving. It is still thriving in both indies and mainstream marketing. I remember before the pandemic at Barnes and Noble, like every Saturday, there was a group of like maybe college age kids. They might have been older. I don't know. They were younger than me, but And they'd come up there with a whole bunch of board games spread out at the tables like bastards and decide that they were going to take up the tables playing whatever board game they wanted to play. So it's that there's still a love for it, despite, you could get on a video game and hook up and talk to somebody or cuss somebody out or whatever. I guess it's a little bit different when you're sitting across a board from somebody and they can swipe you, but
and I think that's necessary because we spent 2 to 3 years, depending who you talk to, in lockdown, and a whole lot of people got real comfortable behind the crest invisible shield of their keyboard, or and then it's like you see them face to face. How you doing? You just told me, I eat donkey butt 5 minutes ago. Like you had to stop. Did you pull over to tweet this at me, or were you just driving?
Oh, he was really mad. He had to pull over.
No.
He had to clock out at work just to
at least they pulled over. I've seen them drive with their knees. So
one of the
a buddy of mine was a mailman. He'd drive with his knees digging around in the back, make turns like that. I don't know how. I don't want to know how.
That's talent.
That's awesome. I want to be that guy.
I think games they provide such a crucial set of tools that video games, and I love video games. Don't ever think I'm bashing on video games. I love video games. But I believe the world would like us to get away from certain things because it's hard to rent a board game.
Yeah, the government.
No, I mean, corporate interests. A video game, you pay a log-on service, you get repeat purchases. That's why they don't want physical things. A board game, unless they can hook you with expansions, like the second part of the quick play I wrote for Luke Stone that's coming out that I'm not supposed to talk about. But anyway, if they're not going to hook you with that, they get your money and you're done. Because once you've bought checkers or chess, which I despise with a passion, yes, I'm a tactics guy. I hate chess to my core.
Chess.
Well, I thought you were a
terrible at
guy. That seems like a perfect game right there.
It's because he can't win. That's why.
Well, no, I can and have one. I just hate where your only mechanic is to either bump somebody off or sacrifice a piece. I hate that limitation. It grates on my nerves. Can't is a 4-letter word for a reason. I like lots of flexibility in my options. That's why a game like Catan fits better. Because, I have different strategies I can take depending on how it is, and then I can negotiate. And I love to negotiate. You need one of these. Well, I can sell you one because I'm getting plenty. However, I'm going to need this, this, and this. Well, that's exorbitant. True, but no one else has the piece. Now that's capitalism done right. But I don't. Yeah, I'm seeing there's a lot of commentary about this, but I do believe the physical is necessary.
I agree.
The only tragedy about games is I've yet to find, and if you find one, and this is an open thing, I'm on Twitter at @NTalker, as long as Twitter still exists.
Today.
Yeah,
Wait
so
till
we'll go for today. If you find a really cost tolerant board game manufacturer, where like a print on demand board game service, Amazon, you want to make money, we'll design it, you print it and do it, and then give us our cut. I don't mind. I understand. We have to kneel at the altar of the Zon to make money sometimes.
Right.
But the cost to get in is it's so prohibitive to what you want to do. That's why I tend towards miniature games and miniature games where you can use your own miniatures.
Mhm.
Because everybody who has any other game has piles of these miniatures stacked up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, do I want to go play classic BattleTech for 8 hours?
Yes.
That's the right answer, of course. But I say this because I was playing classic BattleTech. There was a rules argument. During the time they had a rules argument, we went to another table. I set up, we played Big Stompy Robots, and we're done by the time the rules argument between rounds was over. So
yeah, that's about right. That sounds like a Magic game.
Oh
Yeah.
Since Alpha, brother.
I do love Magic.
Since Alpha.
I tried Magic.
Elven superiority in Magic. I mean, I'll flat out lay that down all day.
I was a Yu-Gi-Oh guy.
So let's take it those games. Let's say, okay, does a board game actually have to have ready? A board?
No. I don't
Not
think so.
anymore.
I say
Not anymore. Because look at Dungeons and Dragons. You're playing on a
Exactly.
table. That's a board. A board is just a flat
That's
surface.
Operation's technically a board game. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Operation's great.
And I suck at it.
Well, yeah.
Big giant
Operation's great
hands.
for learning nefarious skills and
Steady
as
that
is
drawing hand.
perfection. Because it's something in life has to teach you how to deal with anxiety, and nothing like perfection for making you just twitch. Or Jenga.
Dealing with
Oh, Jenga.
Board game because it's made of little boards.
Or pieces of
It
a
is
bigger
considered a board game, so yeah, it's a. But see, and that's the thing; those things there, and that's another thing too. The board games you have patience that you're being taught. You're waiting your turn. When we're in Call of Duty, we don't necessarily learning our turns. You know what else was I going to say?
I don't know.
Yeah, steady your hand. Like for instance, like Operation, being precise, Jenga, studying what needs to come out next, what's going to topple everything over. So when you go to the grocery store, you don't take the toilet paper from the bottom and knock all the rolls into the aisle.
Perfection, so that you don't try to get your queen size mattress into your Volkswagen Beetle like the people in front of Walmart. I know you've seen these people. They buy a full-size mattress and have it diagonal with one corner wedged in a little tiny car like it's going to do something.
It's board games are just. I use every Sunday before the pandemic. My wife and I used to do Sunday night board games, and we would all just choose whatever board game we had or I had, because Steph and I collect board games.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So we do that, or somebody else would bring a game, and we would just get drunk and play whatever game's on the table at that time. So we have Red Dragon Inn, which, if you want to talk about downloadable content, there is a lot of expansions for that game, and I have most of them. And
Never heard of her.
So
well,
okay, so you're downloading for a board game.
Mm-hmm.
Please explain to me how that works, because I'm old. I don't understand. Is it rules? Is it
whippersnapper? well,
Boomer.
Yeah, that's right.
So what they do is with Red Dragon, that's the one I have most expansion on, is that they always just release new characters that and more mechanics that you can include into the base games. So you don't have to buy them if you don't want to, but it makes the game more interesting. Like there's one where you can play as this mage's rabbit familiar, and its entire premise is just trying to eat everybody else. That's it. That's its entire thing, and we do not allow anybody to play him because he's broken. There's one that you can use instruments to distract people if you decide to buy the bard character. So there's all these different expansions that go with it. So, and it's just nice to keep the game fresh and going. And honestly, I buy those a lot more than I buy DLC for video games because I feel like the replayability is always going to be there. So
And it stacks.
Mm-hmm. It does stack.
Because one, I have no financial tie to the game Basic Fantasy RPG. But if you go to I think it's basicfantasy.org, you can download everything that they have for free and print it off yourself or run it. It's a OSR, old school Renaissance version of about 3.0. It's like if you took the old school D&D and decided to take the best aspects of the newer systems and kind of squish it together. I run it for the kids at the library because the print books are sold for like $5 on Amazon. But you can always download stuff, print it off, and go, okay, I'm running by these rules in this expansion. Or to get back to Magic, because I've heard tell that since so many people use card protectors.
It's true.
That
play it safe.
You have to protect your cards with the ever-increasing cost of Magic cards. Some people for home play will print off pirated or even make up using simple apps, fictional ones for the heck of it, and put them into card condoms, and then it all plays relatively, fairly.
One of my friends plays Warhammer every Saturday at her place, and if they're testing it before they go out, if they want to go buy a new piece, they will actually either print out a picture of that piece or use like a Beanie Baby or something as a placeholder to test if they want it. And it actually makes the game way more funny because she'll have a giant stuffed camel on the table, and it just looks way more hilarious with all these big marine guys with guns and chainsaws, and they're getting their ass handed to them by a giant squid or whatever. So,
and the great thing with that is the cost for Warhammer 40K is a very popular game.
It's like $70
when you say Warhammer, are you playing 40K or Age of Sigmar?
40K is what they're playing.
Okay, just checking. I know 30K has come out too. Yes, I'm a geek's geek. That's what Nita said. Oh, I'm sorry, nerd's nerd.
I feel like I should turn my card in because
me too.
Brother, it's never too late to pick up gaming more. I can hook you up with all manner of free suggestions, and rest assured, Luke Stone has assured me there will be more gaming very soon, at which I will be promoting. But I'm riding that. That horse is now mostly dead, so I will try to stop beating it unless it twitches at me. But
hey, if you're part of it, beat that horse.
Yeah, beat that drum, dude. Keep doing it.
We all shameless plug here, so you're amongst.
That's right.
Yeah.
Friends.
But,
be proud.
Oh, I am proud. It's like Luke asked me, "What are you most excited about? What we're doing?" And I'm like, "Well, this, and this. I've got skin all the games, so yes, I'm genuinely most excited about it." But if you have questions or you want in on things, one, you can usually download the PDF of most newer board game rules and just read it over and see if it's something you want to play. Because one of the things is some of these board games are coming around the $50 line, and that's a lot to throw at something.
See, I would actually love to find a really good local group or whatever that plays D&D, because I've always wanted to play it, but I've sat in 2 games and I wanted to kill myself. I would love to play it.
It's such hard to find the right people to play D&D.
I think you got to have a good charismatic guy to be a DM,
Gentlemen.
No, he's going to be
We are on a D&D game when I say D&D, I'm trying to get better about it. But an RPG style game requires 5 people of similar interest if only there were 5 people of similar interest brought together by some technological device, and one of them could say, hey, I'll make it easy on you. We'll use a basic fantasy RPG. You can take that link and download what you need, not spend any money, and I walk through some very one-shots. I run it for between 6 and I think my oldest is 15-year-olds at the library every month.
See,
I can
did you
run.
set us up- Is this why you brought us
perfect
here?
for
Was
you,
to play
Jarrett.
basic fantasy on here?
No.
Oh no! I just am shamelessly stealing opportunities. This is what I do, and if I like how you game, then when the other stuff goes, I may have to play test or help people set stuff up for the games I'm selling. I would never. I am nefarious. Okay, I'm a very
it's good to
nice
know
guy.
people.
I'm a good guy, but I never do anything for just one reason. You know, that's how you can tell.
And now you don't even have to buy die, right? Isn't there like a digital D20 that you can just
Yeah,
download?
Okay,
there's
you
all
know
kinds
what?
of
If you
apps
have a
now.
phone,
You can
Dice
download
rollers.
an app.
Yeah.
Dice rollers.
I
How
actually found
lazy
one, I
are
think
you to have to
called
download
Dicer.
an app?
Right?
That is.
Honestly, I've tried those dice rolling apps. They're not as fun as
Did you really? I was.
Oh
joking.
no!
No, I was curious, and then but I have like a huge bag of dice, so do not get me wrong. I am a real person.
I got a
It's
huge bag.
way
I got a
I've never
huge
played
bag of
D&D, and
dice.
I have,
No.
I have some dice.
Yeah.
Oh, you never played?
No,
I love.
I've always
D&D.
wanted to, just never.
Okay, guys, I am not kidding. I will happily run a rules light because you don't deep dive into the big editions that have 15,000 characters and crap.
Well, yeah, I think that's what's intimidating is the fact that when you get to advanced Dungeons and Dragons, you're like, oh, there's a player's handbook, and then there's a monster's guide, and then there's
See, but that's the thing is that you don't even need to. When you play D&D, people do. I mean, yes, it is intimidating, but when everybody else is playing advanced, you can start basic, and that's what's really nice about it.
Yeah.
You can just be like, bro, I just want to build a simple little bard that
It's so
fights
much
with,
math.
Yeah,
I have.
that plays with the kazoo. I don't know.
No, I love that. One, I love a kazoo playing bard. That's happiness. And I've played all the editions, and I mean it, all the editions from white box through. I'm actually playtesting. I'm taking part in the playtest for the new D&D 1 stuff, and games like Rifts and Shadowrun. You don't have enough D6s for Shadowrun. GURPS, all these other games, because that's where I started to go, why won't they make a game that I want to play that's quick and easy? And I keep running into this problem where if you're going to complain about something, you then have the obligation to do something about it.
Well, I know you can print out for like D&D. I know you can print out like quick games or whatever, quick scenarios or whatever.
They even for like 5th ed, there's a set of basic rules that you can print and it will give you all the characters, monsters, enough of a setting to give it a try, absolutely for free.
Yep.
And then you'd be compatible with the more advanced games and just get more. Well, here's a bucket load more spells and stuff.
I think see for me, what really introduced me into role playing games, it was actually the simple 10-sided dice Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
And so
I made a
You know who
narcoleptic vampire
illustrated
with that.
the manual for that?
Huh?
Who illustrated? I mean, you know who illustrated the manual for that?
I can't. No,
Tim
who?
Bradstreet.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. But to this day, when I go, can I afford to do something? I look at my wallet and go, I can soak that much, but then it'll get pricey because I've been playing, old school. But
and it's kind of those things like that, when you create characters and you're being characters, you strategize or whatever the case is, and those are the things that kind of spark that imagination and start to get your brain running to really start creating your own thing and your own.
Well, Marvel had a tabletop like that. I'm surprised it didn't get anywhere because you can create your own character that can, do stuff with the other heroes.
A lot. They have a lot. There's a Star Wars tabletop.
Yeah.
There's a Star
Mutants
Trek
and Masterminds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a
DC
Rick and
had
Morty
one that
TV
was
show.
really freaking awesome, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, I played it.
Everybody has a tabletop at this point.
At this
Rick
point
and
in
Morty
time,
has
right?
a Dungeons and Dragons tie-in. I have it. So
Yeah.
I like the way you admitted that. I have it.
look, I went through a Rick and Morty phase, so
You know,
No, it's
here's
not.
the thing. Did it bring you joy?
yeah.
Yes. Did it hurt anybody?
That's what
No.
matters.
Maybe.
Then what's the problem?
Yeah.
This is a great problem. Like, what's wrong with the world is people won't let stuff that isn't any of their problem alone.
Right.
Well, that's the problem. Social media, everyone has a voice,
Yep.
and everyone expects you to listen to their opinions, and
Yep.
no one
If you-
cares.
If you like
Well,
something and somebody
You can
else
have
hates
it. You
they're
can
gonna
have
kill
it, but
you.
don't judge me for liking what I like.
Yeah, no, of course.
And
Opinions
we've
are like
lost the
assholes.
concept of expertise because everybody has a platform, but not everyone can make noise, but not everyone can send out a message.
Right.
And very
Right.
few people think about what they're saying right now, let alone the ramifications of what they're saying
Right.
later.
That's why I
Right.
get hit a lot.
Yes.
No, that's because you keep talking bad about your wife. That's why. That's why you get hit.
That's the ramifications. That's spousal abuse. It's just natural.
There's a big fist is gonna come through the wall.
Oh, those 1,000 sorries that you had at the beginning of the show. It's coming for you, buddy.
It's coming back. I think she's playing Skyrim right now.
And you know what? That's a great point. You want to talk the strategy of the game and any game you play. All of us have been there where, Uno destroys families. We all know this.
Yes.
But,
I also destroy families.
I can tell. You aspire to villainy, and if you ever grow competence, we will quake in fear.
Thank you.
However, oh my snark.
Nice, now you freaking threw him off, Chad.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I try to contain my evil. It's easier in the morning, but as the day goes on, I'm more
Right. No,
provoked.
I get you. We appreciate you coming. I know you're more of a morning person. So
Well, I had to stop all my evening shows due to I had to take a very specific medicine for some nerve damage I have, but it would make me very disoriented, and I literally couldn't do evening shows. The fact that I'm able to do this is actually kind of a big deal for me.
Aw.
But
Yay,
good.
good
Where
on,
did
good on
I-
you.
yeah.
But the getting back to the semi-shady, there's a point in any strategy game, and Carl mentions when it's not your turn, it gives you a chance to read the strategy of the other players. But there's also this game is over, but the night is not.
Yep.
Do you,
I will
married
remember
guys,
this.
feel free to admit you're playing a game with your wife. You could win now, or you could let her do some more stuff and win later. What do you do?
See, I'm an immediate.
I'm gonna
type
lose
of-
anyway.
Type of satisfactory guy. I
Have
gotta
you
have,
met
I gotta
my
have
wife?
that win now, so I can rub it in.
She's the one who she'll actually be the one to do that. If she
Oh,
knows
no,
she
no,
can
no,
win,
now-
That's
now-
why
just
she
do it.
refuses to play Trivial Pursuit with me anymore because I always win.
I love Nita, but I understand that she's going to take a hammer under the table to your kneecap if you screw
no,
up.
it's not
Yep.
even that. It's
That
not
is
even
true.
that. It's basically we're racing to get to the point of who's going to get there first. It's not if I don't
Yep.
if
No,
I
no.
don't
Oh,
act,
God. Do
forget
you
it.
play Munchkin?
I
I have not
Munchkin.
played Munchkin.
Oh,
She
why?
has played Munchkin.
You and Nita need to play Munchkin.
You gotta play Munchkin. Steph loves
now,
Munchkin.
Munchkin is a meta game in that it's a parody of RPG and
Stab your
D&D
buddy.
gamers.
Right.
So it's
yeah.
very, very meta if you're not in the universe, but it is a hilarious shank fest. And the expansions, they have like Cthulhu Munchkin and Superhero Munchkin,
Yep.
where the tropes that are involved, and you may hear a lot of things about tropes for a game I designed that people don't know about yet, for somebody else. But
Is
tell
it
Pat
Luke
Funnies
Stone?
says what?
Is it
Anyway,
Luke Stone?
and if he hasn't, tell
Maybe.
Pat Funny, get off your butt. That being said, everybody's like, Nick, you've been so quiet this year. You haven't published a lot. I'm like, you have no idea. Duck feet under the water, man. Duck feet under the water. But the one thing about it is about embracing your inner murder hobo. It
Yes.
is about shank before you are shanked. Do unto others before they do unto you. It is a wonderful.
So you want a
spirit
crime
of-
scene to happen at C's house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we do play Clue. That's it.
Steph is the same way. When she knows she can win, she will just win. Like, I'll be getting really excited for my strategy, and she'll just come in and destroy me. And
Well, I mean-
she'll make me be the bottom. So it's very unfortunate.
Minor flex.
No,
I just last week had my 20th anniversary.
Oh, congrats!
Aw,
And part of my
Congratulations.
present, my wife got
Hold on,
me.
I'll put you up.
Okay, she got me a set, and I brag on these because she loves to hear it. Of
Oh,
rogue
cool.
themed, whoops, and there went one of them.
Aw, those are
Custom
cute.
dice.
awesome.
They're not terribly. Look at the D4's a little, little dagger. Isn't that
Aw,
delightful?
That is
That's
And she, I mean, this is how you know somebody wants. She ordered me this really nice set of dice,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's just
That's how you know she loves you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it, bribed the DM go up a level. But she got that's the trick, guys. And
Yep.
to the single guys out there who hear the horror stories about husbands who marry, so she won't let me do this because she wants to. Then marry someone with the same interests as you.
Yep.
We girls exist for a reason.
My wife.
They don't have to be pretty. Just they like what you like.
Well-
Most of them are pretty. They just don't know
Yeah.
it, which makes it easier for us.
Aw.
I've only
No,
had-
wow. Talk about strategy.
Well, see, there's a problem there.
It's all the
Because
same
what
in
do
the
I
dark,
like?
baby.
Women.
Get yourself a
So if
bisexual
you, I can, that is almost a
Walk by,
that's
yeah.
that is a
When the
paradox,
Lights are out,
isn't
you
it?
don't know. When the
It's
lights
a
are out, you
paradox
don't
for
know.
Mitch. Mitch likes women, and then if he gets people with his interests, women who like women. So
See,
It's
it's
a great thing. When
when
the
you-
lights are out, you don't know.
when
It's
you
all the same, baby.
when you marry
The
somebody
hole's
with
a
the
hole.
same you marry somebody with the same interest, especially because Steph and I, we buy board games, video games.
You are all weirdos. Ugh.
sorry, Chad, I didn't
I
mean to
remember my
interrupt.
people.
No, I mean no, that was very appropriate. I totally agree. I couldn't be mad at that. No, what I was saying is that her and I will go to the board game section. And
Ooh.
comic shops have been starting to get more into the board games.
Yes.
Vault of Midnight in the basement has just walls and walls and walls of them. And we will spend hours in there seeing which games we can bring home to piss people off. We bought one. We bought one called Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one's great because when you're the sheriff, you can just inspect everybody's bag, and everybody has to try to bribe the sheriff not to check that because you're trying to get contraband into the castle.
So what are we teaching people?
Well, we're teaching
So,
people
so
how to
this is
smuggle.
real
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah, like, this
You
is
joined
real.
the TSA.
Yeah.
Customs
It's all
agent
politics.
101. No, I'm kidding, folks. I'm kidding.
It is a lot of fun. And speaking of with Steph, because I'm married to her, she will always inspect my stuff.
Well, yes.
Like, every time. Because, one, she always knows I'm lying. Or she'll know. She's like, Chad, honey, you're lying.
Well, are your lips moving?
I am terrible at lying to her. So
Just
she's
give it a
known
couple
me
more
for-
years.
She's known me for 25 years.
Yeah, that's-
So, yeah.
Okay.
She knows.
So you met when you were what, 2?
We met when we were
Here's the fun part. They're
Oh.
still in diapers.
9, which was
Oh, okay.
yesterday.
Which is just. So wait a minute, you've actually known each other since you were 9, or is that?
Yeah, no, we've known each other since we
Wow.
met in elementary school, and then we started dating when we were 19, and then we got married in 2016. So
Seriously,
Yeah.
I love that.
yeah, don't do it.
That makes my night. I like happy things like that.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Even though I make fun of her, but she also makes fun of me too all the time. So
Yeah, well, you're not able to hide as much as we are, meeting our lives later on in life. So good luck there, buddy.
yeah, look, she's scary, okay? Especially because she's good at games. That's why I like playing with her. Because I'm stupid when it comes to board game rules. You have to talk to me like I'm 5. And she'll go, honey, no, this is how you play. And I go,
Whatever. I'll go play Call of Duty. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play something. He's like, no, honey, we're sitting down and playing this.
Whatever.
Oh my gosh! You know, one time I was playing. Nita and I were playing with her parents, and her stepfather, drunk as all get out, and just asking like weird mathematical questions and all whatever.
12.
Like that's not. Yeah, he's like. That's not how you play Clue, man. That's not how you play Clue.
You can't deny
It was
physics.
a
in
45-degree angle.
Hey,
with
and
the
here's
ring.
the thing,
he's doing the forensics
candlestick.
part of the game.
But let me tell you. Well, look. Okay, so that's crazy, right? Okay, I don't.
By the angle of the
He's
knife.
drunk, right? Yeah, he wins.
Yep.
He wins the freaking game. It's like you didn't even ask us a question that made any fucking sense, but you won the game.
Speaking of those games, Betrayal we were talking about a little bit ago.
Yeah,
Have you ever
great game.
run into a game that you can't win?
Yes.
That's
It's called
Betrayal.
Monopoly, isn't it? That's,
Yeah, it's
No,
called-
no. Betrayal is you build the board as it comes.
Yeah.
So there are. It is possible to build the game board and end up basically stranded through a chute in the basement,
Yes.
and you can't. That's what happened to my little brother the last time we played.
Always happens to me. Every time. I
Well, see,
always
the
get
other
screwed
thing
over.
people don't want to admit, there is a certain bizarre type of karma that happens with certain types of games. I wonder about it. Like, there's a whole mojo discussion to be had there, where it's like, my buddy Joe, who is the sweetest, nicest person on the planet, okay? He cannot roll a die for a positive number to save his life. I mean, when I say his dice are so bad, if he touches one of your dice, it's tainted forever. I'm stone serious. It will not roll. It's so bad that I was playing Big Stompy Robots, a game based around D10s. And I took, he accidentally grabbed mine and just started the worst possible rolls. And I set the game up where high rolls or low rolls in different situations could be beneficial. It was so bad, it lives in a capsule attached to part of one of the terrain pieces. And I made a whole faction based on my buddy Joe Bachman called the Joe Bach Techno Union, that when you blow up their building, every piece touching the ground takes damage. That way he's responsible somehow for someone else's pieces getting hit. And the worst part is I was running the tourney for this game, and they asked me to sit in because we had one empty seat in this whole tourney. And I'm like, fine. And it got down to me and Joe, and he lost by blowing up his own building.
yeah, that would do it, right? I mean,
That would
I'm
make
pretty
me...
sure if you blew up your own building in war, that means you
Yeah.
lose. It's so many ways, not just the war.
Yeah, it's
I
just,
do not want him on my team.
Yeah, no kidding.
but I mean, he's a great guy. He's not dumb, and he's in construction, and he does computer coding.
Oh no! You should have told us that.
Yes, but
Skynet.
he's one of the greatest people I know. I really love the guy.
In construction,
Carl
he blows
knows-
up his
Carl-
own
Carl
building.
knows I'm not BSing.
He's
But,
demolition, baby.
You see
But
why your
the man
computers catch fire,
cannot.
Nick.
No games of chance for Joe. I think what happened, because I was very, very, very good friends with his wife. Well, before she was his wife. But,
Was she your wife?
no. I met her 6 months after I met my wife. We'll put it that way. But she's probably my best friend in the world. And he blew every ounce of luck he was going to get before and after by getting her. I understand this. He
Aw.
understands this. They're a great couple. Love them dearly. But that man cannot get near dice. And, to pull it back to tabletop gaming, do you guys prefer more chance-based games? Games like Sorry? Or do you prefer more... So I think we could break it into 3 categories.
Sure.
You have chance-based, you have mechanical skill-based, and then you have strategy-based. And between these 3 vectors, most games interact. So where do you like to lean in your when you go, this is a fun game? Because this is a great chance for me to hear what makes a game a good game to you guys.
I like strategy.
Yeah.
I'm a chance type of guy.
You're gambling man, eh?
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
I like the strategy. I like being able to plan out what I'm going to do next and listen to everybody else, what they're going to do, and then it all just comes together into one big fight. And it's awesome. And I love it.
You are a 40K player.
Yeah, well, I can't spend the money on it, but when they give me pieces, yes, I do like playing that. I like playing the Nurgle guys, whatever the names
okay.
are. Yeah,
I know who you mean.
Plagues. So
I played a lot of more time, we'll put it that way. But may I remind you that 3D printers themselves are cheaper than several of the pieces that
oh my gosh.
Yep.
Anyway,
a decent one for $300.
We are not endorsing. This is not an endorsement.
now, this is a joke. This is a joke. I would never endorse piracy at all.
He's just
I
stating
make
a fact.
joke.
Unless it is
either.
high seas piracy, but yes, go ahead.
If you decide to go to Pirate Bay and download every season of Night Court, I will not judge you, but you shouldn't do it. Wink,
It's
wink.
for free on Freevee.
No,
You don't
I
even
know
have to
it is.
pirate it.
For now.
This is interesting. Donna says, I'm a pantser in writing and in playing games.
Yes, I
But
know.
she-
That's why Carl sits down on all his streams. But no, on the off chance anyone doesn't know that phrase, allow me to be condescending.
Yeah.
A pantser is somebody like me who goes, I'm gonna write a story. You don't know where it's going. You don't know where it's starting, where it's stopping. Then you have people who actually apparently plan their stories out, which I can do when I'm like running a D&D campaign. You know, I roughly hedge that all out. But I don't know. Sometimes I think it is fun to play a game where you're deliberately not being strategic, because that will completely mess up the strategy of people who expect you to be strategic.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're normally a thought out player and you're just doing, I'm gonna play this card because you're thinking, I like the picture of this card.
That's
You're playing-
exactly how I played Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh,
Just because
This
things
white
look-
dragon with blue lines is pretty.
I also
if you can
played.
play Yu-Gi-Oh, can play Magic. It's basically the same game.
Well, the first
Yeah, but-
version of Yu-Gi-Oh was. I don't know.
Yeah,
If once,
the Yu-Gi-Oh! Now I left after the synchro summons. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
I
anymore.
heard the same thing about Pokemon, but I don't play that either. So.
Yeah, I played Hero Clicks. Is that when I played the Marvel DC those Hero Clicks game as well?
you are so.
We had a ton of that.
Mage
So-
Knight 1.0, man. I was a
Yeah.
Mage Knight dude from the. That's what got me. Mage Knight got me into.
I don't know, see.
I
Okay,
never got a
rewind.
chance. I never got a chance to play Mage.
All I
Knight,
know
but I've
is that-
seen other people play it, and but yeah, the Hero Click side I've always been into, but I never actually played based on what characters were stronger. I just always built teams on what characters I liked.
That's
they'll
the
be like,
point of
why do
Hero
you-
Clicks.
Why are you
I
having Commissioner Gordon go up against my dark side?
So
And I'm
those
like,
they
because I
actually
like-
have the hit points, and you can click them down as they lose them.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the thing is, as they take damage, the rules change, and it's all contained
Yep.
on the click.
Sure.
Yep.
So it's very. If you start on click-based games, you will look at the people who do I need 16 things and 4 sheets and a graphic calculator and a slide rule to play this game.
Math.
And
Yes.
you go,
Yeah.
why? This is why I like rules-like games. Because, I want enough rules that there are rules, either in
Right.
tactics gaming or in RPGs.
Yeah, but I want the freedom to think for myself as well.
Right.
That's what I like a lot too. So rules are great, but as soon as you start like hammering it all down, you're like, no, you can't build a orc that built a steel chair and then opened up a steel chair factory because of this. And that's actually a true story. That is one of my D&D characters. That's where I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I don't really want to play anymore if I just can't kind of have fun and dick around a little
Well,
bit.
and see, that's the problem. If it's one of those, the idea in something like D&D is here's the rules for figuring it out. Now, I can run anybody ever wanted to do an RPG, I could run one with a business card worth of rules, one side.
Okay.
All right, I'm listening.
I can run the base +2 engine, the engine I made for Luke that a bunch of the other games are cropping out on. I'm going to be doing some with my own engine in the fairly near future. Again, with about a front of a page. Because I really, most of the time, as the guy running the game, shouldn't need more than that. You know, all you need to know is how hard is it for somebody to do something? What bonuses do they have?
Yep.
And then the answer is you can try.
Yeah.
The answer is always you can try.
Worst case scenario, you die.
Yep. Or you know, it just doesn't work.
Right.
Well, that was what was always attracted to me about role-playing games, those type of tabletop role-playing games, was the fact that you got, and I got stuck with being the GM most of the freaking time.
Forever GM right here. Yeah.
But I like to play more
GM.
than I like that. I like to play more than I like the GM because why you could, and that's the thing that kind of you can make up stories and everything like that, and you can put the people through things, and they're going to do something that go against exactly what you planned.
Yep.
I like to be the one screwing up somebody else's plan.
Me too.
That was but I always got stuck as the GM, ST, DM, whatever you want to call it.
But I've also run into the DMs who actually will always try to stick to their plan no matter what.
It's railroading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time when you try to go, well, I'm gonna blow up this building. No, you can't. It's important. I'm like, yeah, and that's why I want to blow it up. Like,
I had this one time. I had a friend of mine, and he wanted his girlfriend to play, and you try to pull her into the game, and she's like, "Why? Why should I go there? Why would I do that? Why would I?" It's like, damn it! Look, get the hell out! You're dead.
My wife played a beast tamer or a druid. I forgot what it was, and she ended up taming a dire tiger.
Okay.
Just out of sheer luck. So for the whole game, she just had this big pet dire tiger, and she wasn't supposed to tame it. She just tried, and they were like, "Oh shit! Oh, yeah,
intimidation."
Yeah, you did. She rolled like a nat 20, and they're like, "You know what? We're just gonna give it to you. It's fine." So we didn't play strictly to the rules. Sometimes we just thought it was funny.
There?
Yeah, she was. It was actually my friend next to me. Shut up.
That's how you play.
That's why I don't like a lot of complex rules. Because the more rules that exist in a game that are necessary to me, the more
bored you get.
I have to say no
to
my players. Which is why it's like, all I want is give me a bell curve, however I'm going to figure out the stats. Enough abilities that they feel like they can do something. And if they can reflavor it, I don't care. Just
exactly.
Courteous and tell me ahead of time, and we can make it work. Because guess what? You can fudge all sorts of stuff as the DM, GM, whatever. And when you have, and that's one thing interesting. Most board games are equal level games. Everybody, you're either all cooperative or you're all competitive. Role playing is one of the few games where it's cooperative, but somebody's representing the competitive side of it.
Now I see why you don't like chess. That I can see why you're not.
I don't like chess because
it's very rigid.
It's very, very well, think about it. There are very, very few mechanics, but it's incredibly rigid. So it's like the perfect worst of most of my things. And the other part is a lot of the people who like it, and that's not likely you guys, just by your... I played chess with the kind of people who memorized the gambits. So that's the tabletop version of playing Call of Duty or Halo with somebody with aimbots.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I had fun because I had a 4-player chessboard.
Yeah.
So I would just we'll set up there. What? No. What? No. All the rules are the same. I've just changed the board a bit so your macros won't run. Now I can find out what your tactics are.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's what happens with a lot of those strategic, with those gambits that you're talking about, is what they're designed to put your opponent into a box.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're basically being, if you're with an experienced player, a lamb led to slaughter. Is
Yeah.
what it really comes
That's
down
why
to.
I couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively or everything, because there's just people who want to finish the game right then and there, and I don't find that fun. If you're gonna put me in a
I can
box
see
just to defeat me, I'm just kind of like, or like fighting games. It's like, okay, well that was 20 seconds of time that I could be spending shooting somebody in the head in Grand Theft Auto, like, and not getting my ass handed to me.
No, and violent video games especially are
I love violent video
necessary for catharsis. I firmly believe that. You have to be able to go, I'm going to do violence on this game so I can vent the frustration. You know, it's like swearing in a car. If you're by yourself and you're swearing in the car, you're not hurting anybody.
See, he's calling us out.
Yeah, my case, violent video games have saved lives, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
right.
Violent games save lives.
I truly no. I mean, because I've worked a lot of jobs where I would be very angry at the end of the day. Either I'm working with the public, or I was working in a medical situation where you have to be calm. You know, I used to work with severely mentally and physically handicapped people. My specialty were the behavioral individuals, the high-level behavioral individuals. So I would open the door sometimes and have a coffee table flying at me. That was just a typical day.
I want to work there.
That's a
No,
whole
you don't.
different game.
That sounds awesome.
Well, a lot of it is
It's not a poultry guy. He's just a person.
There are ways you can defend yourself, but it requires a lot of training and constant calm. So you're doing your job. If you're good at your job, and you're not, a D-bag, and I saw a lot of those.
I would not have that job.
you have to leave. You leave the job, and now you've had to deal with people verbally, physically, assaulting you. Sometimes they try sexually. They do their best, And you'd have to come back out of it because your job is to take care of them because they literally can't be held accountable for their actions. They're not there.
You're also oddly wet, so you need to leave.
Well, so you come down to the end of the day and you've got frustrations. Or you're working with the public. And, I've been a cashier. I was Chuck E. Cheese, okay? I was the
Oh my gosh.
Chuck E. Cheese. And a half hour on the hour, top bottom of the hour, I had to stop whatever I was fixing or doing because I was between 5'4" and 6 foot. Get in the suit, dance around, knowing that there's a electrical breaker thing I had to disassemble, put in different pieces, stop what I was doing, go do the show, come back.
You get cooler and cooler every time you talk. I just want to tell you that.
Look, let me go ahead. Let me try to get a break here real quick.
Yeah,
and let's take a couple of bumps and we'll be right back.
It is difficult to write these words, but I must for my own sake. I have done, seen, and been part of many things in my life.
question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to
That
talk
is so
about?
cool.
Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comic Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
And if you use Raging Pagan, they will send you, well, a very angry witch. Sorry.
That was a beautiful transition.
It's just the SWC thing.
Before we get back into the role of this insanity that is this program, I just want to say how cool it is to be involved in stuff like this. Because, and I'm going to date myself here, I've been on the fringes of the anthro community doing art and stuff for a very, very, very long time. As in, I have the American Journal of Anthropomorphics, Volume 4, on the shelf across from me. And getting to hang out with Daphne and Lage and seeing the coolness that is the Oswald Chronicles is just really pure awesomeness. And I dig it. And I don't get to say that very often because there's a real venue to say it. But
yeah, they're really well written, believe it or not. And I'm not just saying that because I know them, but they're really well written. And yeah, that Oswald Chronicle video was done by Tyler Carpenter, and he did a fantastic job of putting that together. So we're just waiting for the movie to come out. So
not even kidding. That's amazingly done. And the leaves at the end. When we talk board games, I'm a tactics gamer on video games too. So Final Fantasy Tactics and the first 3 front missions were really influential on me. But the end leaves made me think of the Final Fantasy Tactics like startup scene, and I could hear the music kind of tinking in my ear. Do you guys play any of the video games that are done in board game format?
Like an RTS?
Well, RTS is there's a great place if you want to throw those there. I'll talk that all night. StarCraft is life, and Armada was great, but I like to see what brought people into the sphere of gaming and how does the gaming affect your comics? Because I've been a DM forever, so I have no choice but to think in the visual. Because when you're DMing and you're describing, and you step out and you're surrounded by blood-stained orcs, gore is hanging everywhere. They've drawn their swords. What do you do?
Seduce them.
And you know what? I had to catch myself because my thought was roll for it. I will literally let you try just about anything.
That's how I play. Is I will just be like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see what I can get away with. That's why I wasn't allowed back at some D&D games. That's a whole other story.
That's the thing. But you start to see, and it's almost like a study in character development. Is really what it comes down to. When people are pushed to the fringes of they've got to get it done, or somebody else is going to get it before them. Like say, for instance, Sorry. It's Sorry. You have like four pegs. You have to go around the board and make it right. So when you're dealing with that, or what their reactions are going to be, that's great character development that you can put into into a comic, into your story, and it's a plane that's not just it's just this type of genre is this type of genre. It's genre sparing, it's cross genre. So
it does a weird thing too especially with me in comics, and this is gonna sound when I'm creating characters, is I like acting out the characters.
Oh no, that's fine.
Yeah, and that's what I like about Dungeons and Dragons, or just any of these role-playing games, or just board games in general, is because I get to act out what I'm gonna do. And it's the same thing with comics, where I can be like, all right, I want to make like Quinn is my gender-fluid troll, so I just log into the computer and I go on 4chan for a couple of hours. But I will start trying to be
it's a different way of playing D&D, but okay.
Vote float, as long as it's only adults you're talking to, we're fine. But And I think forcing yourself to think strategically makes you write better villains.
Yeah.
Because this isn't going to help you a lot with most heroes. Because heroes are reactionary by their very nature. You know, Soups is flying around, da, 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 da. Good for him, whatever. Here's the scream, ah! And then he goes in for the save. Until somebody shoves Lois off the building, like that's going to have any effect on anything. You know? Soups is just essentially a bird or a plane, some smudge in the sky. Is it a chemtrail? Ask Alex Jones. But, you know.
Only when Superman farts.
Yeah,
you know? So, you know, now, meanwhile, the villain, if you look at the villain mentality, especially in a comic that has powered abilities, because it's much bigger than just superheroes. You know, your fantasy comics, especially, even westerns, where, you know, they've got dynamite and 6-shooters and whatever. The villain has to sit there and plan out, theoretically, okay, well, if I kidnap Miss Maybell, and I'll have my boys kidnap her and tie her to a track over here, ahead of the 225 from Yuma, while Johnny Good Guy is riding off to save them, I can rob the bank in peace. You know? And I tried to pull as generic and dorky a version of that. But you have to look at that. And it's such a good study in frustration and how people act when they're thwarted. Because if you think of a good villain temper tantrum, they look a lot like the first time I played Commander. And I basically killed everything, reset my board, and won. I saw a dude literally flip a table up and like, what the fuck, man? You know, and just lose his stuff. That gives you the, so that's what people really do when they become
it's kind of it's bare, stripped down. Yeah, absolutely.
And so it gives you the, because you can always tell people who like write fight scenes or they draw fight scenes and they have no concept of what a fight looks like. They've never done anything martial in their life. They've never had a physical altercation. They haven't done any research. And it's like, ugh, 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 ugh. Okay, speaking of games, your entire fight training is Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You know,
I have Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Maybe.
You know, but
then you get your head knocked off.
That really does not happen enough in big giant mech movies, and I'd really like to see more Rock'em Sock'em robot kills. Like in let's do have them do a classic BattleTech movie and have, you know, an Atlas get its little skull face junked straight up. You know, just once, please.
Yeah.
But
so okay, let me ask you this question though, and then kind of reverse it back on you. Now you're about to make a game. What's the first thing that you have to do?
If I'm making a game, the first thing I have to do is figure out. It's kind of two things that happen parallel. What is the audience, and what, if any, is the IP involved? Because between and this applies for RPGs and tactics games and just board games. I've made board games in the past. I just haven't really sold any. Keep them off balance. That's what I'm all about. But it's figure out what does the audience want. Because the goal of the game, unlike Monopoly, sorry I had to say that, Donna, but is to have fun. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The first goal should be to have fun. What's fun for a bunch of, 5 to 8 year olds is going to be dramatically different usually than what's fun for, 20 to 40 year olds.
Yeah.
And then you have to look at what would serve the IP. So if I'm trying to make a game for Calvin and Hobbes, okay, I'm picking random IP. There's not, it wouldn't be a very complex rule set, and it would favor chaos because that fits the spirit of the game. I mean, if I could do that, I'd have to do something based on Calvin Ball.
I really want to know your idea of what Calvin and Hobbes would be as a board game. We're going to sit down and talk about that. Anyway.
Okay, we can set that up. But at the same time, if I wanted to do a RPG or board game based on Law and Order SVU, now you're going to get the rules to make it work have to be a lot more complex. The spirit, the style of the game has to be darker. The consequences more dire.
And you got to make sure not to put somebody to sleep because I'm already thinking about it.
Well, no, and that could be a real valid point. Keeping the how do you keep the excitement up?
If you go to sleep, you lose.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel I've lied to you slightly. If I'm making a game, the first thing I ask is, am I being paid to make this, or am I making it for me? Because Then I have to. I mean, I've got to be honest, but I assumed you meant past that, but I don't want to lie.
Well, no, that's fine. No, I mean exactly for somebody else, not for yourself.
Well, yeah, if I'm making it, and it is, you're doing something for a customer, so that makes it that extra. What do they want out of the game? And then you have to go decide, help them walk through if they don't understand how game mechanics work, because a lot of times you have to rein them in, because people will always think about somebody who's never written a superhero and they want to write a superhero, and it always comes out like a little kid. I'm going to write somebody who can shoot fire out his butt and fly and he's going to be invincible and unkillable, and it's like, okay, but is that fun? Is there any story? So you have to pull it down through the process to get what they want. And make sure that then you creep into the math side of things, where, okay, how am I going to balance this? Is this a game? I try for games that are fairly balanced. Mm-hmm. A little, like if I'm doing an RPG, one of my rules is it leans toward the players, because the goal is for the players to have fun. So if I have a choice of, is it going to make the game harder? Is the value going to be higher? Players very often hit just a little harder because it's more fun for you. You want the chance to miss and enough misses to keep the stakes. But you want that, yes. What do? I came in the room and I punched the heck guard with my taser knuckles and he throthed and fell over. Awesome. Okay, But you don't want to. I came into the room and I punched the hell beast with my taser knuckles and it frothed and fell over. And I will come in the room and I punch the big boss and nothing happens and he kills me. You don't.
Yeah.
You have to work the balance because that's part of what's enjoyable.
Right. Well, it's the same thing as keeping a power structure or a power level when you're writing in comics.
Exactly. And when I'm working with, like, what I set up the game for hybrids that became the base +2 engine for Luke. He was joking around, and he had made power cards loosely based on the Marvel power cards, like, strengthless. Transformers used to come with the same kind of thing, where like
dexterity,
energy, this, leadership, this. Yeah. And it looks kind of cool. And I looked up like, okay, I can do this. So really, yeah. I have relative numbers for a bunch of the characters.
Well, it's like a character sheet, right? I mean, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it was 2 notches, because I see you have a character sheet for an RPG, right? You have like a data card, which would be the clicks on a mini clip fig, or the little card that you're playing a trooper, and he has an attack of 3, a defense of 5, and a movement of 6. And then you have something like what he handed me, where it has it, but there's no real relative. The numbers are there, but they don't mean anything yet.
Right.
It's just figured out by going obstructively. Okay, this is this is that. And you have to do all this kind of math, and that's where it gets technical. This is where I earn my money, and I hate to admit it. Because If it was just making a game, it'd be real easy. Just bam, you make a game.
Right.
Sure, this is cool. This happens. Here's a scenario, whatever. But when you're actually making the engine, first, I made the engine for his game, and I hard set it that this would be the standard. So I set a power cap where no playable character is going to be more strong than these figures.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
And D&D doesn't like to do that. D&D likes to, you level up, so they level up, and the numbers all get bigger, and it's this big race. But it doesn't mean anything. It just, the numbers are bigger.
Yeah, that seems kind of overwhelming.
Right, and it is, and it runs people off. So what I did is I set it up where, okay, this strong, this strong, this strong. Because if you're any more strong than these given things, you're not there's no chance of loss. So it doesn't make sense for a character. Even Soups can be stupid. You know what I mean? Soups has no magic resistance whatsoever. You think superheroes, he's invulnerable and he's bulletproof and kryptonite will mess him up, but nothing else will. And then somebody goes bippity boppity bozo, and suddenly Soups thinks he's a clown waddling around Metropolis.
Or Poison Ivy comes along and just decides to kiss him, and then now he's mind controlled or
right. Because that's his real weakness. Who said blah blah blah? I swear.
Womp womp womp. No, he said womp womp womp.
Wah, wah.
Okay.
Some of the best writing in Batman comics. But go ahead.
Oh no. Oh god, there's another set of conversations you guys are trying to rope me into.
No, we're getting close to the end.
No. This is great. This is beautiful.
Speaking of which, R.I.P. Kevin Conroy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Sad.
He was the best Batman, and that's what I tell people. I'd say Adam West is Batman.
I agree.
It just goes to show you what generation everyone is from.
Well, right. Well, no, because as a little kid, that's what he looked like.
He was for me too. Adam West.
But Kevin Conroy was the best Batman. So it's like I kind of split it because he got the role better than anybody.
To take a second to say something about that. One thing about that Batman was still kept the darkness, but Batman smiled. Batman had a humanity to him that really didn't portray in any of them, except for Adam West did, but it was kind of hokey.
Yeah,
Michael Keaton really didn't have it. He smiled, but it wasn't the same.
And what he doesn't get a lot of credit for is he was able to separate his Bruce Wayne and his Batman.
Yes,
what I mean? There were two different characters.
But
Michael Keaton did the same thing, but Kevin Conroy was more successful at it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there are two episodes that I hold as the gold standard. In all the Kevin Conroy Batman projects, all of them, there are two episodes that I hold as the gold standard for understanding the person of Batman in the way that is forgotten. The first one is the one where he goes to where it's out of actually I want to say it was the Mask of the Phantasm movie, where he was sent to kill Ace because she was essentially a reality warper, and she was dying anyway, and he sat on the thing.
Oh no, that's that was Justice League Unlimited, I believe.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was a callback to that era.
I don't recognize that at all.
And the other one actually comes out of Justice League Unlimited, where there's one where Cersei turns Wonder Woman into a pig. And it's such an insane story arc. They're trying to find magic. Him and Zatanna are running around trying to solve the problem that Wonder Woman has been turned into a pig. And she ends up in like a slaughterhouse, and she's about to die. And they finally go to Cersei and ask, what do you want? And she goes, what? If there's anything I've learned about magic, it's that there's always a price. What do you want? And she goes, I want something from you that once I get it, you can never get it back. I want something so deep, so soul-changing, that the people who know will never look at you the same. And you cut, and she's in her club, because she had been hanging out in sort of a nightclub. And Batman comes out onto stage, and the crowd is silent. and he starts singing a song called "I Feel Blue."
Yep.
And it's this
So his dignity, he'll never be able to get that back. Okay, I got you.
and Wonder Woman ends up, she as across town in the slaughterhouse, Wonder Pig is just about to get swallowed by the machines, and it explodes, and Wonder Woman comes out, and
property damage.
Oh yeah, we could get me on this, please. Anyway. Because I hate superheroes so much sometimes. But
I like being a villain.
Zatanna comes up, Cersei comes up to Zatanna, and she's crying. And they're both sniffling because it's this heartbreaking love song. And she goes to Zatanna, it's enough, it's been done. He can come down. She goes, don't you dare, not till this is over. And at the very end, you see Wonder Woman walking through the satellite, and I heard there was a bit of trouble, nothing I couldn't handle, and she walks away and she's humming the tune because somebody either told her or recorded it or whatever.
I would like to think they recorded it. That's awesome.
I hope so. I hope that somewhere in the Justice League files
that would have been on TikTok back then if it was a thing.
Batman is singing.
Batman singing.
But the fact he would go to, because violence has no stakes for Batman except maybe killing people, which is one of those sliding scale stakes things that has always bothered me. But in that, you got to see tremendous humanity, and that's what interests me in story development.
Well, that's the greatest thing about basically everything Kevin Conroy did as Batman. Not necessarily him, but the stuff that he was, took part in as Batman is some of the best Batman stories because everyone behind all those things, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, whoever was behind all that, knew the character and understood those characters. And even in live action, that Kevin Conroy stuff is the best Batman stuff ever.
Yeah.
What did it say? It came from what's his name? Denny O'Neil?
Yeah. I think
Run?
so.
Yeah, a lot of the animated the first animated series was taken from the Denny O'Neil era.
Yeah, because one of the first, if it's not the first, but one of the first that O'Neil wrote was about Batman going to a jazz singer's funeral, and that jazz singer being such an important character in his life, the music and everything. And I think it was in New Orleans, I'm sure. And so he tried to solve that murder. Of course he did. He's Batman, but but there was a humanity there. But there's also the detective. So it was a balance that I enjoyed. You showed he was somebody, but he knew how to get his job done too.
At the risk of being spicy, the problem with modern takes on Batman, with the exception largely of the animated series, is they were so transfixed by Frank Miller's deconstructed, overly gritty BS.
Which I liked, but it's overrated, man.
Well, see, that's the problem. When it was there, it had effect.
Right.
And I have some profound issues with the Killing Joke, but largely the ending, but that's neither here nor there. But that everybody tried to one-up the grittiness. Yeah. And that really culminated in what should have been a great Batman series. And if you think about it, if they would I would pay good money for somebody to redub the Dark Knight trilogy. I am Batman. Like, dude, get a freaking Ricola. I'm not intimidated by laryngitis. Okay.
There probably is a cut on YouTube with Kevin Conroy's voice.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They did the Bane speech with Mark Hamill's Joker.
Oh God,
that was pretty good.
Well, okay. First off, Mark Hamill is one of the greatest actors ever to live, when allowed to be, and Star Wars.
He's allowed to live, or when he's allowed to be an actor.
He's allowed to be an actor, I'm sure.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But in the his Joker is unimpeachable. I'm sorry, that's pure brilliance. But it's a detract. But if you ever get the chance, you have to see. He was at a comic convention, probably San Diego Comic Con, but don't guarantee it. Where he was asked and or paid to do a reading of Luke's lines as the Joker. And that did my heart such good. Because the Joker's one of those characters they couldn't get right. And another one, everybody talks about Heath Ledger's Joker. The problem is I've dealt literally with the criminally insane. So he did a wondrous, realistic, the mannerisms, the movements, the speech patterns, the duplicity, the weird charm, brilliant version of someone that level of crazy. Totally believable. But that didn't feel like the Joker to me.
No.
At no point did it feel like the Joker. Great villain. But
let me stop you. Let me go ahead and stop you there, Nick, because we're at the we're at the end here. But we will be having a Batman show next year because that is a character that is iconic and he kind of, there's a lot of inspiration there. But I'm gonna put you up on a big screen and I'm gonna ask you this question. I don't like board games. What would you recommend for me to play to get into board games?
Wow. What would I recommend you to play? If you don't like board games.
Candyland.
No. Okay, that's funny. That's one of those where I would ask follow-up questions. But if I had to go for a game, I would really say Catan of the modern board games. Because most of the people who don't like Catan, like board games, didn't like them because they were kiddie games.
Right. So
they were either boring or had they didn't engage right. So you have to know why they don't like them. But I would really go with Settlers of Catan. Full version, never the child version, not the family version. You need the full version.
All right. Well, tell us where we can find you.
Well, as long as Twitter is up and about, I do like people going here because I don't have to deal with vetting and family interests. So at ntalker at Twitter. You can go to my website. It is still in development, www.nicholastalkert.com. You can find my books on amazon.com/nicholastalkert. That's if you want to learn to do not fall in the wet stuff. Thank you. No, learn to sword fight.
Ooh.
Learn to axe fight or learn to spear fight. You can definitely start there. Big Stompy Robots. If you want to do tactics gaming, the core rule book is very moderately priced. You can get the quick play version that I developed for 99 cents. And I'm putting it out there because I want everybody to be able to play games and have fun. Where you find me broadcast-wise, good Lord, is there a lot of it. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. till whenever, usually a little after an hour, because I don't like to stomp on Nita and Daphne's timeline, and I'm scared of Nita.
Aren't we all?
You can find me for Nevermind the Furthermore, which is a program where authors, artists, creatives of all types can come together, promote their work, chat about things, get a little philosophical, have a good time. On Friday nights, you can find me on the Historical Fencing Guild, where we talk swords, shenanigans, how to learn to fight, how to bring stuff up. Thank you, Donna. She did actually buy my books, and I hope she's enjoyed them. And you can find me on Luke Stone Studios, the YouTube channel, and the website for Nerd Bacon Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. All those times are Eastern Standard, I think. Well, it's Eastern time. The standard daylight changes.
Yeah, Eastern. Yeah, whatever.
And you can find my art at NickT, deviantart.com/NickT. So
we need to have a talk, Nick. If you haven't heard about DeviantArt, watch the show from yesterday.
You know what? I did just hear about that, and
What happened?
they have put up a thing where you have to opt in to have your art involved.
Yeah,
Go
but it's
watch
the fact that they did it.
Raging Monday morning, and there's a little bit more information to that. But I want to thank you so much for coming on. It was fun having you. I couldn't think of anybody better to come on here for board games. So thank you so much. We'll have to have you back for the Batman show. So,
Certainly.
Chad.
What?
There you are.
Hello.
We can find you here, but where else can we find you, Chad?
Home.
Dressed up like a pickle.
Dressed up like a pickle somewhere, bothering people. You can actually find me at Casual Nerd Chad on Twitter, where I'm posting all my updates for my upcoming projects. You can also find me right here on the Indie Comics Network with Shots with Comics at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we review comics. We're mean, we're very controversial, and we just completely blow up the stream midway through.
Just kind of like kick yourselves out.
Yeah.
You're so controversial even for yourself.
We cancel ourselves.
Yeah.
Is that a Volbeat t-shirt?
Yes, it is.
Good God.
What? I went to the concert. You know,
we'll talk about that backstage.
Yeah, God.
Oh, Jared. Oh, wait, you're not done? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say I'm going to be on Thursday night Throwdown on the Indie Comics Network this Thursday with Rodney and JD. So
that's your second time on there, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a talk with Rodney. Okay.
I mean, that's fair.
It's like, okay.
He doesn't know any better. It's all right.
I'm talking about Rodney. Like, oh, you're not here tonight. Rodney decided to go see Wakanda tonight. So I hope he's having a good time. So.
Good movie. I like it.
I have yet to see it. Hi, I'm Jared. You can find me on Facebook, Jared Lockhart 80, and possibly the same on Instagram. I don't know, but I'm on there. I'm on Twitter too, but I'm rarely on there, and the only notifications I ever get are legit from Elon Musk.
I'm gonna go be on Twitter. I'm gonna be Jared Lockhart with the blue check.
As long as you pay your $8.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's me. I got some stuff that I'm working on that I'm very proud of. So hopefully I can share that with you eventually. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's me.
That's great. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Is that it?
That's me. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah. Mitch, go ahead, sir.
You can find me here at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios, or you can find my website, online store, and everything else. You can pick up my new release, The Boger Southern Gothic Trade. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, where you can see me tell politicians to go fuck off. Yeah,
they listen.
Oh, at the end of the hour. Damn it.
Yeah, and I am no longer on DeviantArt after finding out what I just now figured out. So, yeah.
Found out Mitch was an AI.
Man, they're getting good. All right. Anywhere else?
Let's see. Instagram, Facebook. No, that's it.
That's it?
Tomorrow might be on ZimmCast.
Okay. There we go. All right. Of course, I'm C Michael Lanning. You can find me at Linktree /C Michael Lanning. Also, check out Electric from Apothic Press. I've got a 5-page story in there I did the art for that's coming. Get notified on Kickstarter, and I think he's doing backer kit too, so check that out. And of course, you'll find me back here next week at Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be talking about 70 sitcoms. That's right. After a tumultuous decade in the 60s of civil rights and misogyny, the 70 sitcoms kind of helped bring a healing to this country, and we're going to talk about that and how that inspired us, because I don't know about these guys, but I know I was raised on a bunch of reruns. So with that, we're going to say
we all were.
Yeah, right.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
I love that. That's my favorite show. Yeah,
turkey.
Absolutely. All right. If you want to know what that's about, tune in next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. right here on the Indie Comics Network. Good night, everyone.
I believe Colonel Mustard did it in the study with the candlestick.
Sorry, Death, you lose. It was Professor Plum.
I said plum.
No way, you said mustard.
Best 3 out of 5.
Right foot, green. Well,
I will take you back.